Not the hugest Bruce fan myself, but hey, he's back in the game, and I think the league, I think we're better off because of it. Not gonna lie.
So Bruce has finally returned to streaming a few days ago, and as we all expected, he had a very successful first few streams back, but seeing him return has only made me realize how wrong he proved the entire internet, who once called him crazy for some of the things he was saying. You see, even though some of the things Bruce was saying months ago may have come off very negatively, it turns out that since his long departure from social media, a lot of things he once predicted or claimed have now come to light, which has made not only the internet, but a few people who he also had problems with switch up as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes you right, just not right now, my.
What happened with Bruce Henry, Jack? Did he just disappear?
Yeah. Yeah. Jokes aside. Jokes aside. Hold on, let me move myself back. Jokes aside. He was right about quite a few things, and that as silly as that was, he stood on business. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people proved his information to be, everybody said their little 2 cents here, there, and everywhere in between, calling him crazy, saying that he didn't know what he was talking about. Come to find out, he did know what he was talking about, and he wasn't wrong about too many things. Not gonna lie.
Chat, I feel like you might have been too real for the industry, Loki. Chat, now that I look back at it, chat, yeah, chat, you might have been too real. People weren't ready to hear the truth.
But how exactly did these people switch up? Why did they switch up? How has Bruce's return been thus far? Well, that's probably what you're here to figure out. But first, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the trap house with the best squad. The internet loves Bruce Drop 'em Off again. Okay, so to start, by now, most of you should know who Bruce Drop 'em Off is. He was at one point and arguably still is one of the biggest streamers in the world. He originally built his career off of trolling within the 2K community, but as time progressed, he also progressed as a streamer as well. He was always improving his content and coming up with great ideas over the years, and he went from being the annoying kid trolling on 2K to becoming one of the most respected streamers in the industry. Throughout the years, he's always prioritized one thing in his career, and it wasn't money or clothes. Instead, he focused on building a strong core audience, which became known as his community, DEO. You see, over time, DEO became a very strong part of Bruce's success. His chat became more than just the average chat. They actually ended up becoming a strong part of his content. Whether it was him going through Reddit posts or simply doing text-to-speech confessions, it's without a doubt that DEO has for sure helped Bruce get to where he's at today. In fact, they seem to be the only people on the internet that Bruce could lean on throughout his entire departure away from social media. You see, at one point, Bruce was loved by many people within the streaming community, and he's often regarded as the bridge that brought two completely different sides of Twitch together. Like before him, there weren't many streamers at all that you would see doing a collab with a streamer like Misgift, while also being able to do a collab with a streamer like Duke Dennis. In better terms, he was the person that helped bring together what was once known as the Poggers and the WNL community.
That's a very good, very interesting point. To touch on DEO, like that DEO stuff was real. Like they really ride for him. Like I remember recently, Lacey got clowned because I guess he told in his Twitter com for some people to get on some dude that he didn't really like, that he wasn't really rocking with. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. But like the fact that he had to tell them to do that meant like, he's got some decent fans, but like they don't really ride behind him like that. Like Bruce was the type of person where like with DEO, if he was beefing with somebody, he didn't have to tell his community like, yo, we don't rock with bro. They were said he might have to tell his community to calm down, to let bro breathe, because they will put foot on neck and belt to ass every time. And they just like always showed up for him. Like he was one of those guys where like never in my mind did I think he had fake stream, like fake was he stream botting. Never did I think that he would had like fake viewers, because his chat was always rolling. Everybody was always on the same page. Everything made sense. The love was always there for him. Even when he was like falling apart, they weren't like raging on him and saying like, yo, he's out of pocket, da da da. Now some people were, right? But for the most part, it was like, yo, bro, what's going on? Like they were really checking on him, like really trying to see like, does he need something? Like what's going on his side of things? And you got to appreciate that, because a lot of content creators don't have that base. A lot of content creators, their fans will flip on them as soon as things get weird. This whole time he was taking his hiatus, his entire the entire DEO fan base was like, yo, Bruce, when you coming back? Yo, Bruce, when you come back? Yo, Bruce, we miss you. Every content creator ain't got that.
And these two communities colliding will basically become the normal on today's Twitch.
But
Wait, so what do you do for a living?
I'm a referee. Nah, it's a men's basketball league. I'm from South Carolina, so like I'm a referee in a men's basketball league.
Yo, Miskip talking to Duke Dennis is like, this is one of the things I will never ever think would happen. Like, this is literally the weirdest conversation I have ever listened to in my life.
So with Bruce being such a popular and loved streamer, building a core audience and unifying an entire platform, how exactly did all of this love that he once had all over the internet turn into nothing but hate? Well, it really all began back in spring of 2023, around the time Bruce hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. On the night he was meant to celebrate accomplishing this milestone, he ended up in a Discord call with two of his closest friends at the time, Your Rage and Casanat. And these two would eventually end up inviting DDG to the call in hopes of squashing a very minor beef that Bruce and DDG had at the time. But this whole thing ended up going terribly and will only further the ongoing problems that the two of them had.
But I can respect to where you want to have a real life conversation.
Conversation
Wait, pause,
before,
I just
right?
hit 30K subs. ZDG still at 700. Yo, chat. Thank you for
30K,
the
chat.
Thank you for the 30K.
you see what I'm saying?
Okay, listen.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Beyond this streaming shit, I'ma see this shit, bro. See what he doing, bro? Like,
Yeah, why you frying on him like
Bruce, I
that?
got a question for you, Bruce. Bruce, I have a question for you. Come back to your chair.
After all of this took place, it started seeming like Bruce could not keep his name out of drama at all. And this would only further after he switched over to the Kick streaming platform. You see, when this whole platform war was going on, it seemed like the streamers who were on the different platforms started beefing as well, because this is where some of the tensions began arising with streamers like Bruce and Casanat. Shortly after switching over to Kick, everything would begin going downhill for Bruce after some damaging DMs would get leaked of him sneak dissing a bunch of popular streamers such as Aiden Ross, Asho Speed, even his closest friends Casanat and Rage. Those messages getting leaked really hurt everything that Bruce had going on. After this, he started receiving a lot of hate online. People began calling him things like a snake, and it really just started to pile up, which ultimately led to Bruce becoming less consistent and his viewership steadily dropping. Now, I personally don't believe that the viewership decrease had anything to do with him being in drama or the messages getting leaked, things like that. I think it had everything to do with him just streaming on Kick, because once he returned back to Twitch a little while later, his viewership will once again skyrocket. But unfortunately, even with his viewership going back up, the hatred that he was receiving on the internet practically stayed the same. At the time, every opinion Bruce had was basically looked at as hating, whether he was talking about streamers view botting. Everyone looked at this like he was just hating or he was jealous because he fell off and other people were doing good. It was just always looked at very negatively. But now, months later, everyone on the internet is starting to realize that view botting within the streaming industry is actually a very real problem.
So stop view buying. Everybody in the streaming industry, stop view buying, bro. Like I'm talking to y'all as streamers. Y'all know who I'm talking to too, bro. Stop trying to make yourselves seem bigger than what y'all is, bro. Just work for that shit, gang.
But you see, that wasn't the only thing that Bruce was getting hate for, because he had also ended up in a beef with the entire FaZe clan after people started coming into his chat spamming Lacey Live, which was originally just meant to be a troll, but he ended up completely crashing out and snapping on FaZe in general.
Nigga, you think I give a f if Lacey is live? Nigga, f that fat white ass nigga. You think I give a f? Nigga, f FaZe.
This ended up sparking a reply from the former FaZe CEO Banks, which
I'm not gonna lie. When this happened and I peeped that like there was like really nothing going on behind the scenes with the whole Lacey thing, just watching him crash out was hilarious. But the fact that it like escalated and became like a thing was the problem, because there was no reason for it to. It was just a bunch of guys trolling. And then, you know, Banks gets involved and all this extra stuff. Of course he's gonna say F FaZe, bro. A lot of his people jump into the chat sitting there saying all this, that, and the third.
led to the two of them getting into like a back and forth on social media that lasted for a few days.
What?
Yo, just know I'm smacking the shit.
What? Okay. Oh.
And fucking your bitch.
For real?
But I'm gonna take one. Watch. I'm gonna make an example out of you. We both know that I'm fucking your girl first thing tonight, tomorrow.
But you see, during that night that exchange took place, Bruce had mentioned that FaZe has something on the way involving crypto, which you guys know crypto and content creators has always been like a weird, sketchy thing.
Hey, bro. And just wait until y'all see that crypto shit that they up to, twin.
They got something cooking, twin. That's why all these trying to. Hey, bro, I ain't gonna say too much. I'ma just laugh for right now, bro, because y'all don't get it. So I'ma just laugh, bro. But just remember what the fuck I'm talking about, bro. All right? That's all I'ma do.
We did remember.
Is laugh.
And sure enough, months later, FaZe Banks, the person who he was having this exchange with, would go viral all over social media for being involved in an alleged crypto scam with some type of like pump and dump scheme that he tried to pin on Aiden Ross, and this all led to him stepping down as the FaZe CEO due to the hate he was receiving online. So while all of this was unfolding in the eyes of the internet, Bruce was completely offline. He wasn't streaming at all, he wasn't posting videos, there was no content being posted at all from Brucedropemoff. The most that the internet would see is a random fit pic maybe once every 2 or 3 months. But even with him being on this extended hiatus, it will only help fans realize that maybe Bruce wasn't some crazy addict who was hating on everything. Instead, maybe, just maybe, he actually had a point all along. And when people came to this realization, that's when Bruce really started to win the internet back over. Even streamers like XQC would admit that he personally thought that Bruce was a bit too real for the streaming world.
What happened with Bruce anyway, Chad? Did he just disappear? Chad, I feel like he might have been too real for the industry, low-key. Chad, now that I look back at it, Chad, yeah, Chad, he might have been too real. People weren't ready to hear the truth.
So basically, in my eyes, this is really like a prime example of not knowing what you have until it's gone, and that it in this situation was gone for basically a year. There was always growing optimism that he was going to return at some point. In fact, the entire DEO got pump faked a few times. I think the pump fake that fooled everyone was the most recent message that he had put into his offline chat, where he claimed that he was going to see us within a week. And throughout that entire week, fans were up in his offline chat just waiting for him to spark a stream, and that stream never ended up happening. But he ended up making it all up to his community and the rest of the internet on September the 11th. He had put out a tweet from his burner around 1 p.m. saying that he was happy to let us know that the hashtag say was coming later today. And for those of you that don't know, every time before Bruce goes live, he always tweets out say from his main account. It's kind of tradition at this point. So when fans saw this, they ended up getting their hopes up, and this time he didn't disappoint. Bruce had finally went live for the first time in ages, and the energy was a lot different than it was around the time he left. He was being showered with love, peaking at over 50,000 viewers and gaining over 10,000 subs, all within his very first return stream. And during the stream, of course, he would try his best to keep the energy very positive, even telling fans how much he's grown as a person over his 9-month departure.
Your boy got saved, man. Your boy got saved, all right? This is probably one of the greatest moments in my life. Can't even lie, right? I was very, very, very proud of myself.
That's tough.
For like taking this step. All right. Now,
one thing I do got to say, when it comes to Bruce, especially over the hiatus, he really put in some work. He was really taking care of himself. And like there was a lot of negativity and a lot of drama going on when he first made that exit. But I think him getting off the net was literally the best thing he could have done. Because, like, even in a world where he ignores all the drama and he's like, yo, I respect everything that everybody got going on, whatever, but I'm going to stay away from it. And then he just keeps streaming and say he just plays games all the time. There's no real way for him to avoid it. The controversy will continue. So by him removing himself, taking some time to sit back, work out some other stuff, just live life and exist for a minute, think about some things, ponder about some things, people realizing that he wasn't as wrong as they originally thought. Now, was he still wrong about some things that he did? For sure. But for the most part, a lot of the crazier things, the more outlandish things that he said came to fruition. For example, with the whole stream buying thing, like he was telling people, yo, chill out on that. He didn't drop names. He didn't pull an XQC and start searching people out. He was just like, yo, you don't got to do all that, gang. Just grind. Just go get it, bro. You already matter. You already making enough money to live off of, bro. Just do your thing and it's going to come. And everybody thought he was crazy. Nah, nobody would do that. If anything, you would do that, gang. And after a long break, you know what I'm saying? He's back. He's back, like in a much better headspace. And the internet not only recognizes that, but a lot of people that have over that 9 months, you can let a lot of stuff just kind of roll off your shoulders and be like, yo, he was kind of wrong back then, but everybody deserves a second chance. You know what I'm saying? Everybody deserves an opportunity to show how much they've grown. And after 9 months is a long time to be doing stuff. And with the money that he had left over, he did a lot of stuff, and like him getting saved and everything. I know that was big for him, and him saying that it was, just a big moment in his life. It was necessary. That was crucial.
My testament is crazy, bro. I just wanted all, like, I just hated the fact that I had such a negative heart at one point in time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
When my favorite thing to do is to make people smile. That wasn't me, bro, at all. Like, at all. Like, it's just, bro, you realize a lot about yourself when you put yourself in solitude.
Now, with this return,
That's true.
said, everything was basically completely different. Like, even the people he was beefing with when he left started showing a lot of love, starting with DDG. Now, DDG was probably Bruce's biggest beef thus far in his career, which is why it was kind of weird seeing DDG show this love, because even over the course of the 9 months Bruce was gone, DDG was constantly kicking Bruce while he was down. I mean, I could literally probably make an entire video of the trolling DDG was doing, like, the entire time. Like, they even got into a minor back and forth while he was off the internet. I don't even know how that's possible. But at the end of the day, when he returned, DDG did end up showing him some love by gifting him some subscribers.
DDG, thank you for the 20 get the subs.
Which is a technique that he did tell his students about in Streamers University, and he also used this method with Soluminati.
Yeah, I seen DDG going, bro, listen, no bad blood towards DDG, none of that. I see, bro, one thing y'all gotta understand about this nigga DDG, he's a master at content, bro.
And so far, it seems like this method has been working for DDG because it did squash the beef with him and So, and now it seems like it's working with Bruce as well. Because when he gifted those subs, Bruce didn't say anything negative about him. He hasn't trolled him yet. It's basically been all positive, which led to DDG going live the next day to officially squash the beef with Bruce on his end.
Nah, y'all, if y'all think I'm still holding a grudge about some shit from a year ago, but y'all gotta understand, like, and I'm sure he could say the same thing. Bro, niggas got real lives, real motion going on.
I was gonna say real life problems.
It ain't that deep. And one thing I will say about him though, that I respect, when me and him was doing our little going back and forth online, he ain't never brought up no family. He ain't never brought up the girl I was with at the time. He ain't never brought up, you know what I'm saying? He ain't never brought up nothing that was like over the line. And I ain't either. You feel me? So it really, it's never been that deep whatsoever. It was roasting me about fucking sub counts. Like, who gives a fuck? At the end of the day.
Now, to my knowledge, Bruce hasn't replied to anything DDG said during that stream at all. Obviously, he thanked him for the gifted subs, but other than that, he hasn't really said much about DDG. But the love for Bruce wouldn't stop at DDG, because even Lacey, a person who literally caused the entire beef with FaZe, even he would end up giving Bruce his flowers in the recent stream as well.
Bruce is one of the only people who could sit at a desk for 10 hours
and be entertaining
and keep an entire chat engaged without having to go IRL. That's not suck, that's literally just speaking facts.
Now, I'm gonna be honest, I do love the positivity and everything that's going on. I love that the internet is back siding with Bruce, but I must say, I do think it's a little fake that all of these streamers are showing love. It's not even about like holding grudges or anything like that. It's more so from a standpoint of like, I don't think these streamers would be showing as much love if Bruce came back averaging like 2 to 3K viewers. Like, they might have been saying he fell off or something like that. Because when I say like he was getting kicked while he was down the whole 9 months, he was literally getting kicked while he was down. So to wrap it up, thus far, the return of Bruce has been going great. He's definitely flipped the switch for his entire career. So far in just 2 streams, he's averaged 30,000 viewers, peaking at over 70,000 viewers with that as well. And not to mention, he's also gained nearly 20,000 subscribers. These are literally numbers that Bruce was pulling like in the early prime of his career. And not to mention, he is doing all of this while the Mafia-thon is going on and while Speed is doing a whole marathon tour as well. So while it still may be a bit too early to tell exactly how this is going to pan out, to me, I think it's fair to say that we're definitely going to see Bruce get back into like the prime of his career, where he was one of the biggest desktop streamers. But that's just my personal opinion. As you guys know, the only opinion that really matters to me is you guys' opinion. So with that being said, be sure to comment down below and let me know, how do you feel about this entire situation? Do you guys...
I would say Bruce is obviously in a lot better space than he was at any other point. And especially the fact 20,000 subs since the return, 30,000 average concurrent, 70K peak, crazy numbers during Mafiathon. And like you said, with Speed doing his United States tour and everything, he's like that. He's like that. Gotta appreciate what he did. I do think some of the love is a little bit fake. It's a little bit convenient. I won't say fake, I'll say convenient, right? Because there's some people where if he came back and he was just doing a little bit of stuff, I do think if his motion wasn't as crazy, people would be like, oh, Bruce is back, that's what's up, and then keep it pushing. But since he's popping, it's like, okay, let's reforge these bonds that were kind of broken or weathered away because I didn't say anything when he was getting ousted and when he was getting kicked. You know, just little stuff like that.